so the idea was that I've done a lot of work with kind of trying to use agents and stuff and Claude Code to actually build out products and ideas. And I've decided to go like seeing all of the issues with just running it myself, providing prompts to the actual agents, kind of the base ones. What happened was it was like, okay, this is good, but it's also really bad. And then I took the next step, which was like, okay, let's try BMAD. So you actually give it very structured inputs, and then you have very structured kind of agents executing things. And that was great, but you spend around one whole unit of like Claude Code context just to set up your PRD. And then by that time, you've spent a bunch of money. So I was like, okay, what's the next step of this? And then I saw that there is so if people have seen, there we go. So if people have seen the Ralph Wiggum kind of new approach where you can get Claude Code to kind of break down a general PRD into small, tiny steps and keep running while it executes these by creating new agents and then killing them in between these things. Now, what I was trying to do is I was trying to take this one step further, emphasis on trying, because it kind of worked and then it kind of didn't. And then I tried to kind of improve it a little bit and then it completely failed. So I have a feeling that the best way to do this is then one-shot it again. So just clean everything out and just go do it from scratch. But do it live? I probably could, but like you can already see or MRF, the whole thing. But the thing is, it's like there were a number of learnings that I used in this over the space of the actual kind of to implement this. So starting off, kind of Claude has a couple of really cool features. I don't know if people have tried them already, but plugins. I would highly recommend people to just go, if they use Claude Code, do /plugins and install all of these. If you're using it for anything work-based, and if you're like doing any sort of UI front end, get the Playwright kind of like plugin and just tell it, no, you're doing it wrong. Keep like trying until you get it right. Now with this, what it does is you can see that it starts up the actual BMAD agent. So I tried to actually put on the BMAD approach, so breakthrough method for agile AI-driven development. So it gives it a bit more like information on what each agent must do. And then on top of it, I tried to use the TOON, so token-oriented object notation. So it's a little bit of an optimization on the usual like .md approach that you would kind of feed your agents. I did a slight analysis of how Claude actually expected the optimization would be, and it was only like $20 worth of like optimization. So there is further improvement to be done, or there's actual testing, because if anybody has done it and has asked it to estimate work, it gives tens of hours, and then you get it to run and it's like 30, like not even 30 minutes, like maybe 5-minute max, and it's done. And you're like, okay, take these kinds of things with a pinch of salt. But essentially, I tried to get it to kind of give these kinds of things and do all this. Tried and got nowhere, but a lot of these learnings, so the main ones are use the plugins. Also, a really cool plugin, actually, if you go into the browser, find there's like a marketplace of plugins that really, there's like one provider that has like tens of thousands of stars. Click into there, get their kind of like AWS/cloud plugin. Really good, really helpful if you're like trying to deploy stuff or migrate stuff. I've been doing it for my brother recently. He has a startup and he's like, yeah, I'm moving to this. And then I'm like, yeah, let me just blast my €200 a month Claude Code at it. But yeah, it was 100 until yesterday when I was like, shit, I'm not getting anything done. But yeah, that's it. Essentially, the moral of the story is like I called it I'm in danger, because you kind of are in financial danger. You will just increase those tiers until tiers being Claude tiers and also human tiers. But yeah, it's a cool experience. I'm going to keep tinkering with it. Hopefully I'll get it to work. But if I don't. If I do, well, hey, thank you.
Thank you, Andriy. Any questions for Andriy, guys? Yes, there you go.
Hello. Oh, it's so weird to hear your voice like this. Iman here. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Alessandro, everyone that organizes this. This is amazing. I feel so, I don't know, in awe when I see you guys. Anyway, amazing stuff. So my question is actually very basic, but I was just curious, when you start testing these agents, in which areas do you experiment these agents on and why?
Like, in which, sorry.
Yeah, so, sorry. I build agents and I work with agents, not in this level of, I'm not a developer. And whenever someone... yeah. And when someone talks about, yeah, I built this agent, in which area, for what purpose, and why would you test it on that first? Because if I get to start doing something like this, where would you recommend me starting?
I would, so great question actually. With agents, I wouldn't start from scratch. I would actually start on top of something that already creates the foundation. So something like BMAD or something, I think the Claude have their own like agent.md. Like starting off on that, you then just add skills. So like something that I've noticed in my own work is you have your QA agent, let's just say. So like you've written a bunch of code and you wanted to test it. You tell that agent that, okay, run the QA. It does a load of stuff, uses up a bunch of tokens, but it actually doesn't really do anything, and it will create a lot of like smoke tests and a lot of like liar tests, and then you're like, no, don't do that. Make sure that these tests are like true tests. And then it's like, okay, sorry, that is a great idea. Essentially, yeah?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I completely, so starting with that, like having those and then telling it to do stuff. So like you have your dev agent, something that like when I started my job made a huge mess that I was like doing a bunch of different, like dealing with a bunch of different bugs. And then once I was like, okay, push this into the repo and create a pull request. It pushed the thing that I was working on, deleted the other task that I was working on, and then I'm like, well, class, this is amazing. So then what I did was, okay, how do I solve this? Git work trees is a great way to actually overcome this, where you copy the code base every single time you're doing something new, and that way like the push is unique. So you kind of, by messing around with the agent, you give it little like additional skills. It's like teaching anybody. But like to your original question, I'd say start with something like you're not going to build out, like if you're going with like development and stuff, you're not going to build out a website like just purely in Angular from the very start. Like go with React. And then like once you have React, then you can be like, okay, does this actually do the job for me? If it does, perfect. If it doesn't, like, then you can have a look, what do I actually need? You can then look at these other agent kind of like frameworks, methodologies, but yeah.